The thought of "this is my brave" is like reading lyrics to "this is my fight song," because it is my story. What if I was given my diagnosis earlier? What if the school district and the special education people actually did their job despite lack of funding, as they told my parents in the mid-'80s? What if, just what if, I received the extra supports and accommodations that children on the spectrum receive today? Just recently, my father told me more about my early educators and how he was told on the side that because of lack of funding and resources, that I could not be diagnosed as dyslexic or on the spectrum. Then I got lost in the Philadelphia school system. When I was in 8th grade, still in special education, however, reading my younger sister's 5th grade vocabulary books. Stuck on a 5th grade reading level that I was, though I was in 8th grade. Their words were much harder. They came from Catholic school. For high school, I mainstreamed myself with the help of my parents and their hope for me. Going cold turkey from public school into Roman Catholic high school because the education was better. I took the test to see if I was able to keep up with my peers, and I passed. I was diagnosed with being on the spectrum in the summer of 2016. I always had the signs: poor social skills, communication difficulties, sensory sensitivities, a deep love for routines, which helped me to be me, meltdowns, even though we had a different word for that when I was growing up, hence the nickname number 1 baddie, problems with social interactions, aggression, outburst. More so than your typical child, teen, adult, or neurotypical. I have a memory of a goldfish, kind of like that character Dory. I have anxiety, which is manageable with medication and techniques that I have learned in my psych rehabilitation day program, where the staff are truly people acting to help. At the end of February of this year, I put myself into a local hospital called Friends. That they were friends, who then sent me elsewhere. I had a very emotional breakdown, not to be confused with an autistic meltdown. I was crying every day. I loved working with horses, which is what I was doing at the time, hence the attire. At times, during work, while working at this one barn, I was cleaning horses' stalls, crying too, with the exception of, say, Shane or Mimi's stall, because the spirit of those horses transcended into my soul, I believed. Some days, I didn't want to go to work. I was having anxiety attack at work, including in the hayloft. You don't want that to happen. While it was very therapeutic to work with horses, unfortunately, I later realized that I was easily manipulated by people because I was so relaxed with working with horses. I am thankful that I can recognize when people are taking advantage of me and that I can stand up for myself today, thanks to the path. On top of the emotional problems in my life, I was in physical pain. I had an accident at a previous barn that I worked at prior to the current barn. I was haltering a horse, but then he got bit by a bee. His head jerked up, and I just wasn't fast enough. I got headbutted by a horse. Since that day, I have numbness from fingertip to neck, this hand. When the weather changes and storms come, numbness turns into a burning pain. Then I resort to heat. Then Depression sets in sometimes because of that pain that transcends throughout my spine as well. Not wanting to go out, not wanting to go to Pennypack Park and go hiking, not wanting to do anything at all. Today I have medication to help me with my depression as well as the pain. Well, it's still there and I cope with it. The day program helps me out a lot to see the growth I've made since February 26th. It's like I have been put back together like Humpty Dumpty. I have been discovering my strengths. I think I always had them, but they were dormant. Thanks to my counselors and PRSs, I can recognize my symptoms, and I am thankful that I can today. I am able to admit to myself that I am courageous, I am determined, and I am brave. I am unstoppable and so much more. I am grateful for the day program, my spouse, my supports, and for This Is My Brave, which has given me the chance to share my story about my recovery and mental illness. I am a working in progress. I am always learning about me and others. Neurodiversity is the key to getting along with all walks of life. As Temple Grandin once said, in person, I met her, she was great. We are different, not less, people who are on the spectrum. And with that, I'd like to say thank you.